I want you to try something with me right now. Close your eyes for just a moment and ask yourself this question. Where do you exist? Not where is your body sitting, but where is the you that's aware right now actually located? Most people immediately think of the space behind their eyes, inside their skull, somewhere in that maze of neurons we call the brain. That's the headquarters, right? That's command central. That's where you live. But what if everything you've been taught about the location of your consciousness is fundamentally backwards? What if the real you, the aware, thinking, experiencing you, has never been inside your head at all? Dr. Valerie Hunt spent her career at UCLA doing something most scientists never dared to do. She measured the invisible, using electromyography to track the electromagnetic signatures radiating from human bodies. She stumbled onto something that should have shattered every neuroscience textbook ever written. She discovered that the energetic field extending outward from a person's body reacted to external stimuli before their brain did. Not simultaneously, not a split second after. Before. The field knew something was happening before the neurons fired, before conscious awareness flickered to life, before the brain had any idea what was going on. And when she finally put words to what she was seeing, she said something I'll never forget. The mind's not in the brain, it's in that darn field. Stop and feel that for a second. Your consciousness, everything you call you, isn't contained within the boundaries of your skull. It exists in an electromagnetic ocean that surrounds your body, moves through it, extends far beyond it. Every thought you've ever entertained, every feeling you've ever navigated, every choice you've believed you made, it's all unfolding in a space much larger than your physical form. And if your awareness lives in the field, and that field responds before your brain even registers what's happening, then who's actually steering this ship? Is it the thinking mind you identify with, or something far deeper? Something most of us never access, because we don't even know it's there. Here's what makes this more than spiritual philosophy. This is measurable, documented, proven by researchers who had no agenda except understanding how consciousness actually operates. And once you grasp where your mind truly resides, everything shifts. The way you approach healing, the way you work with manifestation, the way you understand your capacity to reshape the reality you're living inside. Are you ready to go beyond the surface? Because what I'm about to walk you through will fundamentally alter how you perceive yourself, your physical form, and the true scope of what you're capable of creating. Here's what most people don't realize about manifestation. You've been taught it's about visualization, haven't you? See what you want in your mind's eye. Generate the emotional frequency of already having it. Hold that vision steady and wait for the universe to deliver. Maybe you've tried this. Maybe you made the vision board, spoke the affirmations, sat in meditation picturing your desired reality, and maybe you got small results. Little synchronicities, enough to keep you interested. But the big transformations, the life-altering shifts, they never materialized. And you started to wonder if there's something fundamentally broken in you. If everyone else has access to some cosmic blueprint you just can't decode, let me be clear about something. You're not broken. You're not doing it wrong. The issue isn't with you at all. The issue is that almost no one, not the teachers, not the programs, not the best-selling books, actually reveals the architecture underneath the technique. They hand you the tool without explaining how the tool interfaces with reality. They tell you what to practice, but not why it generates results. More critically, They don't tell you at which layer of your being the work needs to happen. Because here's the truth that changes everything. Your physical body, this flesh and bone structure you navigate the world with, isn't the foundation of who you are. It's not the densest, most solid aspect of your existence. Your body is the final output. It's a materialized expression, a holographic rendering of something far more subtle, something most human eyes can't perceive, but is absolutely, measurably real. That something is your energetic field. I know how this sounds. Energy field. Sounds abstract, esoteric, maybe even a little too mystical for practical application. But stay with me, because this is precisely where cutting-edge science and ancient spiritual knowing converge into something you can actually work with. Your physical form doesn't exist in isolation. It's embedded within, saturated by, and continuously shaped by an energetic structure. And this structure isn't vague or shapeless. It has architecture. It has distinct layers. It has coherent patterns. It operates as a living blueprint, a dynamic template from which your physical body is perpetually being reconstructed. Think of it this way. Your body is like a shadow cast on the ground. The energetic field is the object casting that shadow. If you want to change what the shadow looks like, you don't manipulate the shadow directly. You move the object. You alter the source. Most healing modalities, most therapeutic interventions, most manifestation practices operate at the shadow level. They're working with the physical manifestation itself, trying to force and adjust and modify what's already materialized. But here's the revolutionary shift. If you want lasting structural change, if you want healing that doesn't just mask symptoms, but transforms the source code, you have to work at the field level. You have to reprogram the blueprint before it prints into form. If this understanding is landing for you, if you're beginning to see reality through a completely new lens, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can continue exploring these consciousness mechanics with us. And here's where it becomes even more profound. Physical disease doesn't originate in your body. It begins in the field, sometimes weeks or months before you feel the first ache or notice the first symptom. You've been unconsciously constructing it, encoding it, building the energetic template for that illness without ever realizing what you were doing. Which brings us to the question I know is forming in your awareness right now. If disease actually begins in the energetic field, why has no one ever explained this to me? And more importantly, how do I learn to consciously work with this invisible architecture? Let's go deeper, because understanding this mechanism rewrites everything you thought you knew about healing, about creation, about what it means to be a conscious being in a quantum universe. So here's what they don't teach you about illness. By the time physical pain registers, by the time a diagnosis gets spoken, by the time imaging technology captures something abnormal, that condition has already been present for far longer than you think. Not in your tissues, in your field. Let me clarify why this matters. Dr. William Tiller, a physicist who dedicated decades at Stanford to exploring how consciousness interfaces with material reality, uncovered something extraordinary. He demonstrated that the human energetic field functions as a holographic template. Your physical body is in a constant state of renewal, being torn down and rebuilt continuously according to the instructions held in that template. You already know this on some level. Your body isn't static. It's a river of perpetual change. Skin cells regenerate every few weeks. Red blood cells turn over every few months. Even your bones, as dense and solid as they feel, completely reconstruct themselves roughly every 7 years. So if your body is constantly rebuilding, here's the question that unlocks everything. What instructions is it following? Where's the blueprint stored? The answer, in the field. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. If there's a distortion in that blueprint, if a pattern of disease has been encoded into the energetic structure, then every time your body regenerates itself, it's faithfully reproducing that disease. You can intervene at the physical level all you want. Surgery, medication, radiation. But if the holographic pattern, the energetic source code, remains unchanged, the disease will return because you're only addressing the output, not the program generating it. Tiller identified what he called the ratchet effect. Physical illness originates at the field level and then cascades downward into denser and denser layers of manifestation. Information flows from subtle to solid, from thought to emotion to energetic imprint to material form. And once that cascade is set in motion, once a pattern locks into the higher dimensions, it clicks into place at each subsequent level like a ratchet mechanism. Each click moves the pattern closer to physical reality. That's why by the time you consciously recognize a symptom, the pattern has already embedded itself across multiple dimensions of your being. It's not just in your body anymore. It's woven through your emotional structure, your energetic template, your unconscious thought patterns. Now here's the reversal. If disease can flow from subtle to dense, healing can travel the same pathway. But, and this is what conventional medicine fundamentally misses, attempting to heal from the physical layer upward is inefficient. It's slow. It's often only temporary because you're trying to reverse the ratchet from the bottom. You're pushing against the natural current of manifestation. Real healing, the kind that lasts, the kind that restructures reality at its source, happens when you shift the pattern at the level where it first originated, at the mental level, at the dimension of consciousness and thought. Dr. Richard Gerber, who explored vibrational medicine in depth, mapped out this layered architecture of the human energetic field. He identified distinct strata, each one acting as a template for the layer beneath it. At the densest frequency, you have what's called the etheric body, the energetic scaffold that sits just beyond the physical. Above that, the astral or emotional body, and above that, the mental body. Each layer templates the one below. Mental shapes emotional. Emotional shapes etheric. Etheric shapes physical. Gerber made a statement that should be written on the wall of every hospital and healing center on the planet. He said, "Healing a person at the mental level is stronger and produces longer-lasting results than healing from either the astral or etheric levels." Read that again and let it settle. When you heal at the level of thought, when you shift the pattern at its source, that transformation cascades naturally downward through every layer below it. Mental rewrites emotional. Emotional rewrites energetic. Energetic rewrites physical. You're not forcing change upward against the current. You're allowing it to flow downward with the grain of how reality constructs itself. This is the secret behind why visualization sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. When it works, when mental imagery actually reshapes physical reality, it's because you're operating at the blueprint level. You're rewriting the holographic code. But here's the part most people miss. Most people visualize inconsistently, without emotional voltage, without understanding what they're actually doing. They're broadcasting a signal, but it's faint, scattered, not strong enough to override the existing pattern that's already locked into place. So the question becomes, how do you generate enough coherent power at the mental level to actually overwrite the blueprint? That's where we're heading next. Because once you understand this mechanism, everything you thought you knew about the relationship between mind and body dissolves into a much more fluid, much more empowering truth. Ready? Let's keep going. All right. So we've established that healing at the mental level carries more transformative power. But what does that actually look like in practice? How do you heal at the level of thought? Let me break this down step by step, because this is where most seekers lose the thread. First, you need to understand that thoughts aren't ephemeral. They're not just abstract mental events happening in some conceptual space. Your thoughts have geometry. They have energetic architecture. They have frequency signatures. When you think a thought, especially one charged with emotion, you're not just experiencing something internally. You're imprinting a pattern into the mental dimension of your field. And here's where the ratchet effect comes into play. That thought pattern you've created at the mental level begins exerting influence on the astral layer below it, the emotional dimension. If you repeat that thought, if you reinforce it with feeling, it starts constructing a corresponding pattern at the emotional level. That emotional pattern then influences the etheric layer, the energetic scaffold hovering just above your physical form. And finally, that etheric imprint begins shaping the physical body itself. Thought, emotion, energy, matter. It's a cascade, a flow from the invisible to the visible. Tiller called this the ratchet effect, because once each level gets influenced, it tends to hold that pattern. It locks into position, and the pattern becomes progressively more fixed as it descends through the dimensions. This is why chronic conditions are so resistant to physical-only interventions. The pattern isn't just in your tissues. It's encoded across multiple layers of your being. You can consume all the medicine available, but if the pattern at the mental level, the thought structures, the core beliefs, the unconscious imagery remains untouched, your body will keep faithfully rebuilding the disease. It's like discovering a typo in a printed book and trying to fix it with correction fluid on every single page. Sure, you can cover it up temporarily, but the next time you print from that corrupted file, the typo returns. You have to correct the source file, the original document. Now here's what Tiller found that should change everything. When you heal at the mental level, when you consciously transform the thought patterns, the internal imagery, the belief structures, that transformation propagates downward through all the other layers. The mental shift restructures the emotional. The emotional shift restructures the energetic. The energetic shift restructures the physical. Because you're working from the top of the cascade downward, because you're altering the blueprint at its origin point, the change is stable, lasting. It's not temporary symptom management. It's architectural transformation. But, and this is absolutely critical, not every thought carries equal creative force. A passing thought, a momentary image, a casual affirmation spoken without conviction, these don't have enough energetic momentum to override an established pattern. What carries power are thoughts infused with emotion, thoughts repeated with consistency, thoughts held with concentrated focus, intensity, absolute belief. Now, what we're exploring today, this understanding of the field and the ratchet effect, is just one layer of a much deeper system of consciousness mastery. If you're feeling the pull to go beyond what we can cover in this format, I've put together a complete guide called Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. It walks you through the 9 master frequencies, from breaking free from survival static all the way to living as the field itself, with practices and transmissions at each level. It's linked in the pinned comment below. Consider this. When you're in crisis, when fear grips you or grief overwhelms you or physical agony consumes you, your thoughts become extraordinarily potent because they're backed by massive emotional charge. That's why trauma creates such profound energetic imprints. It's not just that something difficult happened. It's that in the moment of trauma, you were in a massively heightened emotional state. Whatever thoughts formed in that moment, whatever meaning you assigned to the event, got seared into your energy field with tremendous force. Those thoughts became patterns, and those patterns initiated the ratchet effect. But here's the mirror image. If negatively charged thoughts can encode disease, then positively charged thoughts can encode healing. And not just healing, creation, manifestation, reality sculpting. Because quantum physics is revealing something ancient mystics have always known. Reality isn't something you passively observe. It's something you actively participate in constructing. The observer and the observed aren't separate. The act of observation itself, the act of focusing consciousness, literally collapses probability into actuality. It crystallizes potential into form. Your consciousness isn't a spectator watching reality unfold. It's a co-creative force shaping what unfolds. And if your mind, your awareness, isn't trapped inside your skull, but exists within an energetic field that extends beyond your body, that interfaces directly with the quantum field, that responds and influences and molds, then the implications are staggering. You're not just healing your body with your thoughts. You're sculpting your entire experienced reality with your consciousness. Every thought you generate, every emotion you sustain, every mental image you hold, all of it creates ripples through the field. Patterns, possibilities, probability distributions. The more focused your attention, the more emotional intensity you channel. The more consistently you hold a specific pattern, the more likely that pattern is to collapse from potential into manifested experience. This isn't magical thinking. It's not wishful fantasy. It's the operational mechanics of how consciousness interfaces with the quantum substrate of reality. But here's the uncomfortable recognition. Most people don't do this consciously. They do it on autopilot. They loop anxious thoughts. They rehearse catastrophic scenarios. They mentally replay their problems endlessly. And they're manifesting. They're creating, just not what they actually want. And here's something else that's crucial to understand. The field doesn't differentiate between what you want and what you fear. It doesn't judge your imagery as positive or negative. It simply responds to the pattern with the strongest emotional charge, the most consistent repetition, the deepest conviction. If you spend 5 minutes visualizing health, but 5 hours imagining illness, worrying about symptoms, researching worst-case scenarios, your field receives a very clear instruction about which template to build from. The worry pattern wins because it has more energy behind it. Drop a comment below and share this. What's one thought pattern you've been unconsciously feeding that you're now ready to transform? Sometimes naming it is the first step to releasing it. This is why so many people struggle with manifestation techniques. They're working against themselves. They visualize abundance for a few minutes each morning, then spend the rest of their day thinking thoughts of scarcity, feeling emotions of lack, speaking words of limitation. And they wonder why their external reality doesn't shift. It's because the pattern they're reinforcing most powerfully is the one they don't want. Think about the internal dialogue you run throughout a typical day. How much of it is focused on what you desire versus what you fear? How much emotional energy do you invest in positive outcomes versus negative possibilities? Your field is always listening, always recording, always building according to the dominant pattern. So here's what I need you to consider right now. What are you currently encoding into your field? What patterns are you reinforcing through your habitual attention and emotional investment? Pause and sit with that question, because this is the pivot point where everything transforms. All right. Now we're entering the territory where this becomes genuinely radical. I need you to really absorb this, because what I'm about to explain should fundamentally reorient how you understand your own existence. Your mind is not in your brain. I said this at the beginning, but now that you understand the field, the layers, the ratchet mechanism, we can explore what this actually means at the deepest level. Valerie Hunt was a researcher at UCLA who spent decades mapping the human biofield using electromyography. She was tracking electrical activity in muscles and tissues, measuring things most scientists never bothered to look for. And she started noticing something that didn't make sense according to conventional neuroscience. The energetic field surrounding a person's body showed responses to stimuli before the brain registered those same stimuli. She would introduce a stimulus, a sound, a flash of light, a physical touch, and the EMG readings from the field would spike first. Then, milliseconds later, the EEG readings from the brain would finally show activity. The field knew first. The brain knew second. And when she finally articulated what this meant, she said it plainly. The mind's not in the brain. It's in that darn field. Let that fully land. Your mind, the seat of your awareness, your consciousness, your sense of being a self, it's not confined to the space inside your skull. It's in the electromagnetic ocean surrounding and penetrating you. Your brain is a receiver, a processor, a translation device that takes information from the field and converts it into electrochemical signals your body can work with. But the mind itself, it's non-local. It exists in the field. This aligns with something neuroscience has been struggling to explain for decades. In the 1980s, researcher Benjamin Libet conducted an experiment that shook the foundations of how we understand free will. He asked participants to make a simple, spontaneous decision. Lift your finger whenever you feel like it. Completely your choice. He monitored their brain activity throughout. What he discovered was deeply unsettling. The brain showed preparatory activity, what's called the readiness potential, roughly 0.35 seconds before the person became consciously aware of deciding to lift their finger. Think about that. The brain was already preparing to act before conscious awareness registered making a decision. Libet and other researchers like Feinstein dug even deeper. They found that the brain registers a stimulus in approximately 0.001 seconds. That's nearly instantaneous. But conscious awareness of that stimulus? That takes nearly half a second. 0.5 seconds. Consider what this reveals. There's a temporal gap, a delay of about half a second between when your brain processes something and when you consciously become aware of it. Your unconscious mind is deciding. Your unconscious mind is acting. And then, half a second later, your conscious mind catches up and retroactively believes it made the choice. So who's actually running the show? Not your conscious thinking mind. Not the internal narrator that assumes it's in control. It's the deeper intelligence. the part of you that exists in the field, the part that responds before your brain neurons even fire. Now synthesize this with Hunt's discovery. The field responds before the brain does. The unconscious acts before the conscious knows. What you're witnessing is a complete inversion of how we've been conditioned to understand consciousness. We've been told the brain generates mind. Neural activity produces awareness. It's all mechanical, all material. But the actual data points to something entirely different. Mind exists in the field. The brain is simply the interface. Consciousness isn't produced by neural tissue. It's filtered through it. And here's why this matters for your life, for your healing, for your manifestation work. If your mind lives in the field, and your unconscious makes choices before your conscious awareness even flickers, then the key to transformation isn't willpower. It's not conscious effort or mental discipline. It's alignment, coherence, reprogramming the deeper strata of your consciousness, the part that exists in the field, with the patterns you actually want to create. Because that's the part generating your reality, not your surface thoughts, not your conscious intentions. The deeper mind, the field-based intelligence that interfaces directly with quantum possibility, the part that's collapsing wave functions. And here's the stunning part. When you enter heightened emotional states, moments of crisis, transformation, ecstatic joy, deep meditative absorption, your thoughts gain extraordinary imprinting power into the field. That's why emotionally supercharged thoughts manifest as synchronicities, as reality glitches, as seemingly impossible coincidences. It's not luck. It's not magic. It's the field responding to the coherent pattern you're broadcasting. You're not discovering a pre-existing reality. You're participating in reality's ongoing construction. This brings us full circle to the holographic universe model, to the recognition that each human being is a microcosmic reflection of the macrocosm. Because if the universe itself originated not as a physical explosion, but as a subtle informational field, as pure consciousness or divine idea, as Tiller proposes, and that pattern influenced progressively denser layers until it condensed into matter, then you're doing the exact same thing with every thought, every emotion, every focus of awareness. You generate a pattern at the mental level. That pattern influences the emotional dimension. The emotional influences the energetic. The energetic influences the physical. You are literally a universe in miniature, a fractal hologram of the creative process that birthed stars and galaxies. As above, so below. As within, so without. Once you truly understand this, once it moves from concept to lived recognition, the question stops being, what is reality? And becomes, what reality am I creating? And here's where it gets even more profound. If you are a holographic fragment of the universal creative process, then you're not just creating your personal reality. You're participating in the collective field. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every pattern you hold doesn't just affect your individual experience. It ripples outward into the larger consciousness field that we're all embedded within. You're broadcasting into a shared ocean of potential. This is why collective consciousness shifts happen. Why social movements suddenly reach critical mass. Why paradigm changes sweep through cultures seemingly overnight. It's not just individual minds changing. It's the field itself reaching a threshold of coherent patterning. When enough individuals hold a similar thought pattern with enough emotional intensity, the collective field responds. Reality reorganizes itself at the macro level. You are never creating in isolation. You're always co-creating within a vast, interconnected web of consciousness. And the more coherent your individual field becomes, the more powerfully it influences the collective field around you. This is the real mechanism behind what people call raising your vibration or holding space for others. You're not doing something metaphorical. You're literally stabilizing a coherent pattern in your field that the fields around you can entrain to, like tuning forks resonating in harmony. Let's make this practical because understanding the mechanism intellectually is one thing. Actually working with it is something else entirely. If your mind exists in the field, if thought patterns at the mental level cascade downward to shape physical reality, then mental imagery isn't just some pleasant visualization exercise. It's a technology, a precise tool for directly programming the holographic template. And here's the thing. People have been using this technology, consciously or unconsciously, for as long as humans have existed. But most people use it unconsciously. And usually, they're programming exactly what they don't want. They imagine disease. They rehearse failure. They mentally replay worst-case scenarios over and over. They hold traumatic memories in vivid detail. And every time they run that internal movie with emotional charge, they're reinforcing the pattern in the field. They're sending instructions to the blueprint. Build this. Recreate this. And the body obeys because the body doesn't judge your imagery. It doesn't question your instructions. It simply follows the template. Tiller discovered that patients who unconsciously held mental images of their illness, who constantly visualized tumors, pain, physical deterioration, were essentially programming the field to manifest that disease into physical form. The longer they held those images, the more emotional reinforcement they gave them, the more deeply those patterns embedded into the etheric and then physical layers. The ratchet effect in full operation. But here's the reversal. The same mechanism that can construct disease can construct healing. If you can consciously hold mental imagery of health, if you can vividly, emotionally, repeatedly picture your body as whole, as vibrant, as perfectly functioning, you're creating a new pattern at the mental level. And if you reinforce that pattern consistently with emotional power, with unwavering belief, it begins cascading downward through the layers. Mental, astral, etheric, physical. You're overwriting the corrupted file with clean code. This is why visualization produces results for some people and not others. It's not that the technique is fake or ineffective. It's that most people aren't applying it with sufficient intensity, consistency, or emotional voltage to override the existing, deeply entrenched pattern. They visualize for 5 minutes and worry for 5 hours. They hold the desired image weakly and the feared image intensely. And then they wonder why nothing changes. Because the pattern you reinforce most powerfully is the pattern that wins. So here's what this means for you practically. If you want to heal, if you want to manifest, if you want to consciously sculpt your experienced reality, you must work at the field level. You must become aware of the imagery you're habitually holding, the thoughts you're unconsciously looping, the emotions you're continuously feeding, because all of that is data, information, instructions streaming directly into the holographic blueprint. And that blueprint is always listening, always responding, always building. Let me give you a dramatic example to illustrate just how powerful this is. There's a documented phenomenon in religious history called stigmata. Individuals, typically deeply devout, typically in sustained states of intense prayer and contemplation, spontaneously develop physical wounds on their hands and feet, mirroring the crucifixion wounds of Christ. And I'm not talking about self-inflicted injuries. I'm talking about spontaneous materialization, bleeding, scarring, in some cases, actual nail-like protrusions of flesh growing from the palms. How is this possible? Mental imagery held with such focused intensity, such emotional immersion, such sustained devotion over such extended periods that the image literally becomes flesh. The person isn't consciously trying to manifest wounds. They're so absorbed in contemplating Christ's suffering, so emotionally merged with that imagery, that their body responds at the cellular level. The mental pattern cascades to the energetic dimension. The energetic manifests in the physical. If a human being can grow physical structures from their hands through sustained mental imagery, what does that tell you about consciousness's capacity to shape matter? It tells you the boundary between mind and body is far more fluid than you've been taught. It tells you consciousness wields extraordinary power to influence physical form. And it tells you that you've been using this power your entire life. You've just been using it unconsciously, defaulting to whatever patterns were programmed into you, rather than deliberately choosing what to create. So here's what I need you to take from this. Your thoughts are material, not metaphorically, literally. Every thought you generate is a signal. Every emotion you sustain is a broadcast. Every image you hold is a construction blueprint. And the field is always responding. The question isn't whether you're creating your reality. You are. You always have been. The question is whether you're creating consciously or unconsciously, by deliberate design or by unconscious default. Because here's the truth that might sting. If you've been sick, if you've been stuck, if you've struggled to manifest what you consciously desire, it's not because the universe is withholding from you. It's not because you're unworthy or broken. It's because the pattern you're holding at the deeper unconscious levels of your consciousness doesn't align with what your surface mind says it wants. And until you change that pattern, until you reprogram the holographic template, the physical manifestation will continue faithfully reflecting the old blueprint. But here's the liberation. Once you understand the mechanism, you have the map. You know where the leverage point is. You know what to do. Work at the mental level. Change the pattern at its source. And then allow the transformation to cascade naturally downward through every layer beneath it. Now I want you to pause for a moment and actually do something with me. This isn't passive consumption. This is active participation. Right now, bring to mind one pattern in your life that you know needs to change. Maybe it's a health condition. Maybe it's a relationship dynamic. Maybe it's a financial limitation. Don't overthink it. Just let one pattern surface. Now ask yourself this. What mental imagery have you been unconsciously holding around this pattern? What thoughts do you habitually think? What emotions do you regularly feel? What internal movie have you been playing on repeat? Be honest with yourself, because this is the pattern you've been encoding into your field, and this is what your reality has been faithfully manifesting. And now, here's the shift. What would the opposite pattern look like? Not just the absence of the problem, but the presence of the solution. What would you be thinking if this pattern were already transformed? What would you be feeling? What imagery would you be holding? Get specific. Make it vivid. And most importantly, generate the emotional frequency of it already being real. This is the new pattern. And if you can hold this new pattern with more consistency, more emotional power, more absolute conviction than the old pattern, the field will respond. The blueprint will shift. Reality will reorganize itself accordingly. Take a moment in the comments and share one word that represents the new pattern you're choosing to encode into your field right now. Let that declaration ripple out into the collective consciousness. Ready for the final piece? Because there's one more recognition that brings this entire understanding into perfect coherence. Let's complete the circle because there's one question we haven't fully addressed. If your mind exists in the field, if consciousness operates outside the brain, if each of us is perpetually generating patterns that materialize into physical reality, where does that position us in the larger cosmic structure? Are we just separate individuals, each with our own isolated field, bouncing around in a purely material universe? Or is there something far more profound occurring? William Tiller proposed something that shatters the materialist paradigm entirely. He suggested the universe itself may not have originated as a physical explosion, as the Big Bang model claims, but as a subtle informational field. A pattern of pure consciousness, a divine thought. And that pattern, held at the highest, most subtle frequency of reality, began influencing progressively denser dimensions. From pure awareness to subtle energy to quantum potential to condensed matter. The entire universe cascading from the invisible to the visible. The ultimate ratchet effect. And if that's accurate, if the universe is fundamentally a holographic projection emerging from a deeper field of information, then each human being is a microcosmic expression of that same process. A universe in miniature. Your consciousness exists in a field. That field holds patterns. Those patterns crystallize into physical form. You are creating moment by moment through the exact same mechanism that birthed galaxies and stars and planets. As above, so below. As within, so without. This isn't poetic metaphor. This is the actual architecture of reality. And once you see it, once you recognize that you're not separate from the creative process but an individuated expression of it, everything shifts. You're not a victim of circumstance. You're not subject to external fate. You're not broken or limited or powerless. You're a conscious, co-creative agent working in partnership with the universe itself. And the power you possess, the capacity to reshape the hologram at its deepest levels, is the same power that ignited the first stars. Now, does this mean you can snap your fingers and instantly manifest anything you want? That reality will immediately rearrange itself to match your desires? No. Because remember the layers. Remember the ratchet effect. Transformation takes time. You can't override decades of unconscious programming with a single visualization session. You can't erase a lifetime of embedded patterns with one meditation. But you can begin. You can become conscious. You can start working with the field instead of against it. And over time, with consistency, with emotional coherence, with genuine understanding, you can reprogram the blueprint. You can heal. You can manifest. You can transform. Not by forcing the universe to submit to your will, but by aligning your consciousness with the creative flow that's already occurring. By learning to work in harmony with the field. So here's what I want you to contemplate. Where in your life have you been working at the wrong layer? Where have you been trying to manipulate the shadow instead of repositioning the source? Where have you been treating symptoms instead of rewriting the holographic code? Consider your health, your relationships, your financial reality, your sense of identity. What patterns are you holding at the mental level right now? What imagery are you unconsciously reinforcing? What emotions are you habitually feeding? Because those patterns are constructing your reality in this moment and every moment. And if you want different outcomes, you must start with a different pattern. You must access the source code, the mental dimension, the field. That's where genuine power resides. That's where transformation originates. Now, if something in this transmission is resonating with you, if you're feeling a recognition stirring in your awareness, I want to invite you into something. We're exploring territories here that most content never touches. The actual mechanics of consciousness, the real architecture of manifestation, the true nature of what you are. If this frequency is touching something in you, if you sense there's more to explore in this space, then I invite you to subscribe, not just to this channel, but to this ongoing conversation. This is a community of beings who are done with surface explanations and ready to navigate the deepest mechanics of reality itself. Consider watching this video again tomorrow morning. Let these understandings settle into your field overnight, then reinforce the pattern when you wake. And if someone in your life is ready for this shift, share this with them. When you transmit quantum consciousness principles to another, you're not just helping them, you're strengthening your own coherence, creating synchronistic bridges, and accelerating the manifestation of these truths in your own experience. The act of sharing is itself a declaration to the field. And I want you to do something right now. Take a moment and comment below with this exact phrase. I am the field becoming aware of itself. Not as a casual comment, as an energetic declaration, as a conscious interruption in the loop. Your words carry frequency. Your declaration sends a signal into the quantum substrate. Let that signal go out. Now, if you're recognizing that becoming the field requires understanding how your brain processes reality itself, there's something critical you need to see. When you grasp a specific quantum truth about observation and consciousness, your neural pathways literally restructure in real time. The science behind this instant rewiring reveals why some people transform overnight while others stay stuck for years. That transmission is waiting for you next, and it builds directly on everything we've explored here about the field, the observer, and conscious creation.